Hello, everybody, and welcome to our candidate forum. My name is Christy Detweiler. I'm the president of the Chamber of Commerce, and we're hosting this forum to educate and inform our community. This forum serves the citizens of Dalhart for informational purposes, and as such, it is unbiased and not a debate. Any residents with questions can write them down and place them in the box in the back in the foyer. We will go through those and pick a few of the questions and ask the candidates at the end. There is a time limit for all the questions, so we'll be kind of monitoring that so this doesn't run on for too crazy long since we have so many people. Jeff Bird, I'd like to see if you'd do the invitation.
Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity for us to be here tonight. We thank you for providing an opportunity for our candidates to share important information with our community members. Most of all, Lord, we thank you for allowing us to live in such an amazing community where everyone loves and cares for each other, and when the chips are down, we take care of our own at all times. While we do not always agree with one another, at the end of the day, Lord, please remind us what a blessing it is to live in such a wonderful place like Dalhart, Texas. We ask all these things in your name, Lord. Amen.
At this time, Alfonso Venegas is going to go over some of the kind of rules and guidelines for the forum tonight.
All right, candidates, so the rules are going to be really simple. Mr. Bird is going to ask a question. He will then follow that question with the time allowed for that question. As you are going through it, when there's 15 seconds remaining, I will put this up. When time's up, I'll put the time's up card. Once that time comes, if you would please drop the mic and give it to the next person over after you. Every question will be answered by every person, and it'll be the same question for all of them. Same thing will come with the questions that come from the public. If it's only addressing one person, that will be removed. It will only be the question that everyone can answer.
Okay. First battery, yeah, right when I start talking. Maybe it's just me. I don't know what's going on. Okay, this will take a little bit. We'll go with that. I'm going to give each of you, well, you might have to yell. I'm going to give you each the microphone if you want to say your name, what ward you're running for, and how long you've lived in Dalhart. Just real short.
I'm Dwayne. Is the one? There? No. Okay, I'm Dwayne Smith. I'm running for Ward 1. I've lived in Dalhart since approximately 1964. I was gone for 5 years, and I've been back here ever since.
Yep. I'm TJ Trimble. I'm running for Ward 2, and I've lived here since 2008.
Jack Banner. I've been here for 30 years.
Nelson Flores. I've been in Dalhart for the last 18 years, and I'm running for Ward 4.
My name is Terry Stegall. I'm running for Ward 1, and my family moved here in 2010. I'm James Stroud, and I moved here in 2006. I'm running for Ward 2.
My name is Dennis Rojas. I'm running for Ward 3. I'm born and raised here in Dallas.
My name is Gary Messer. I'm running for Ward 4. I've been here ever since the prison's been here since 1994.
I guess we're ready without a... You have to stand up in the room. You have to stand up.
Okay, candidates, this question, the first question, I think is probably the most important question that people in the room would want you to answer. And you're going to have 1 minute to answer this. So in 1 minute, could you please share with everybody how you're going to work really hard at helping the superintendent do a good job at this school? Sorry. My bad. Okay, question number 1, and we'll start with you, Mr. Smith. What skills do you have that you believe would be beneficial to you and to our community as you being a councilman?
The skills that I have are primarily that I'm very analytical. I analyze everything. I'm a research person. I research everything that comes to mind that I have to do to make a decision. I'm also financially in tune, so I'm very good at budgeting and looking at the cash flow and development of plans for the future.
Same question, just like you read it again, sir.
Yes, sir, please.
What skills or qualities do you have that you believe would be beneficial to our community with you as a councilman?
I believe I bring new perspectives. I haven't been here for a long time, but I've worked for a company that has been here for a long time, and I've learned a lot as far as budgeting and work ethic and community service.
Thank you, sir. Would you like me to read the question again? Please. What skills or qualities do you have that you believe would be beneficial to our community with you as a council member, sir?
As a local for all these years, I've learned about the people and the city, and I just believe that I have a lot of changes to make and a good possibility of input to bring to this city.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Flores, would you like me to read the question again? I would agree. What skills or qualities do you have, sir, that you believe would be beneficial to our community with you as a council member, sir?
I've been doing construction for about 20 years, just pretty much ever since I can remember. I started off as a welder. I do concrete, I do asphalt, I do dirt work, familiar with reading blueprints. And now I'm a manager at a Dumas facility. And so my job is to go through and budget numbers, go through and analyze where we can save some money, and work with people, make sure that the guys are good. So, I mean, that's pretty much what I do every day. I solve problems. It might not always be, you know, what the guys want, but if a problem needs to be solved, it needs to be solved. And the first thing you could do is address that you have a problem, so.
Thank you very much. I got it. Thank you.
In 1996, I was president of the Student Government Association at Frank Phillips College in Boulder, and that scored me a position with the state because at that time Frank Phillips was president of the Texas Junior College Association Student Governments, and at that time in my young career got to start doing political things. Went ahead and went to WT, got a master's degree in organizational communication. Since then, I've not only been a pastor, but a communication consultant. And so I love collaborating, I love leading, I love bringing people together and representing those.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I'm a CPM, Certified Public Manager through Texas State University. I've got 40 years in city management. I've got every license, water, wastewater, sanitation, that the city is in need of at this moment, all those things, and I've been training people for 40 plus years, and I think that's going to be beneficial for everything going forward.
Thank you, sir.
I've recently retired from the city of Dalhart last May, 33 years in the water department, public works, and I think I have, in those years, I have acquired 6 licenses through the state, which I still hold. This is what our city needs, people and the personnel to be trained and work with to excel and get these certifications that TCQ requires. I'm familiar with budgets. Pretty much that's it.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Messer.
Well, with my 30 years of TCJ experience, they have sent me to leadership schools. I'm qualified for a warden at the present time. Not that that's going to do me a whole lot of good here, but still, I've learned management skills. I've learned people skills, communication skills through the agency. as a trained hostage negotiator for 13 years also, and as a teacher. I taught it. I taught in-service, pre-service. Again, communication skills, knowing people, how to treat people, and the agency sending me to these different schools has taught me budgeting and just about anything that has to do with the city has to do with out there, because out there is just like a mini city. We have everything out there that y'all have in here. So I've dealt with everything from safety to classification to you name it, got it.
The second question, gentlemen, will have 30 seconds to respond, and we're going to start with Mr. Trimble. What previous community involvement have you had in Dalhart or in another city that would help you in this role?
Right now, I'm actually serving as first captain of the Dalhart Fire Department. I've been on the fire department for 10.5 years. I'm also on one of the committees for First Baptist Church. That's my extent of the involvement in the city.
Thank you, sir. Would you like me to read that again, sir? What previous community involvement have you had in Dalhart or in another city that would help you in this role as a councilman?
I've had no previous engagement with the city of Dalhart other than just what I've done with the people of Dalhart. And as far as other locations, I've been with the EMS program and also been an instructor.
Thank you very much, sir. Mr. Flores, would you like a question, sir?
No, my involvement in the community or city, what is it, involvement? Oh, yeah, I need you to read the question.
Okay. What previous community involvement have you had in Dalhart or in another city that would help you as a councilman?
I believe project management. I've managed projects with other cities, not necessarily just Dalhart, but in other towns. I mean, Groover, Stratford, little towns like that. You know, I've helped them through, helping them through make decisions that's gonna be better for them. And then I'm planning and zoning for the last 3 years.
Thank you, sir.
In the years I've been here, I did a pro bono consulting for DCA and also Dalhart ISD. And for DMA, I was president of DMA from 2019 until this past December. I stepped down from that so that I could run. DMA is the Dalhart Ministers Alliance. And so I've just been involved in all the things of that. That was actually in the Red Winter when we got involved with that. And I think we've got about $38,000 in the bank now and meet all the needs in town. So.
Sir?
I served on Rotary, and then I served on Lions Club and Canadian. When I was there, served this community as assistant city manager and assistant manager, or as manager for 11 years, and helped out with Rotary and every other civic group. Went to every one of the meetings of every one of the civic groups that are here to help them receive funding for their projects.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Rojas? Yes, sir. What previous community involvement have you had in Dalhart or in another city that would help you as a councilman?
Well, probably my 33 years with the city, I was a water and wastewater supervisor for 20 of those years. And in the last 10 years, I was director of public works. And now I'm consulting for the city of Dumas, and in Dalhart also now.
Thank you very much, sir.
I served about 4 months on the city council in Kansas, so I've had some experience there. And also working with, I believe I've worked with James with bringing vendors into the city, worked with the firing range, and all that kind of stuff. So I've had some experience there. I ran for mayor of town in Kansas, and I lost by 1 vote, so your vote counts.
I need to talk louder.
One vote.
Question 3, the gentleman will have 2 minutes. Oh, I I'm sorry, thank you very much, sir. Thank you.
In community involvement, I've been responsible for food procurement and distribution to the local pantry. I have been involved with the support groups with the fire department and the local police department. I have also support to local communities such as Clayton, not Clayton, but Tex Line and local things. So financially involved, support for the activities that take place.
Thank you, sir. Okay, now question 3, you'll have 2 minutes. We'll start with Mr. Vanderwerf. Based on what you know about city government, what do you see as the top priorities for the city of Dalhart, and why do you feel that way?
One of my first priorities is economic development. I feel that the city needs to bring in an influx of new industry and possibly good paying jobs. Housing, one of my other things that I want to try to nail down. We need to improve our housing because we've got a shortage here in Dalhart presently. So I'd like to see some incentives put on some kind of a housing development.
I'm good if you are.
I'm good. Pass it on.
Based on what you know about city government, what do you see as the top priorities for the city of Dalhart, and why do you feel that way?
I think top priority is we need to get employees trained. We need to get them trained, and then also finding the city manager, the right one for us. And also, well, I think the city manager is a great place to start.
So as I get to consult some of the companies I consult, we do a lot of HR, and I agree wholeheartedly. Number one, first and foremost, is get the right city manager that's qualified and equally, I would say, has the right chemistry for Dalhart. You need to fit in here. You need to be able to work here. You need to be pro rodeo and pro bowling and pro soccer and pro DISD and pro lots of things. You need to be able to fit in our community. And after that happens, we'll be able to restaff with the people we need to restaff with. Number two, I'm going to tell you, we're going to have to back the blue a little better. I was a victim on Tennessee Street of theft. Once I moved on the north side, we actually had a burglar come into the bedroom and spend a little time with him. After that, the church has been broken into about 6 times this year, and the officers do such a great job. They just don't have all the support that they need, and so I want to help support those guys fully. Then, I think after we get the right city manager, get the blue back the way they need to be back, it's going to be time to collaborate with all the right people that know what it's going to take to increase the amount of affordable housing we have in town. We've got lots of employees. It's hard. It's hard to live in this town financially. And I'd love to create a situation, help create a situation where our employees can have affordable living and we can get more employees in here and grow this place.
Top priority is going to be the city managers. Council members are one facet of it, but the city manager is the one that has to direct the employees and their day-to-day activities. And right now, you have hardly anybody that's licensed. I mean, when I retired 2 years ago, we had 17 licensed personnel in public works, and now you have 2. It's just, nobody in the water. Dennis and myself are the only ones that have active water licenses in this town. The $10,000 a day fine for not having those. So Dennis is doing a super job of offering his services to help the city out in a tough time. Myself, said we've got relationships with all the other entities are so strained now. Both counties, the hospital district, the civic group, the chamber, all of those things, the relationship between the city and those is not very good. All those things need to be worked on. They're going to have to first get a good city manager, and then the council's going to have to support them in getting some training for all the employees to move forward. There was a 33-acre site out by the college that when I was here in 2020, we put together a plan for some housing, and at that time, you had the staff that could have put the utilities and things in. They don't have that anymore. But you're gonna have to look at some type of development to get some, it's not low income, but some affordable housing. Because not everybody can afford $300,000 and $400,000 homes. So we've got to keep that in mind when we're moving forward with the city manager. I've got to have somebody that will listen to the public.
I think the number one deal also is the city manager position, and then probably housing, I would think would be next. Then I think our infrastructure in our town, there is some things that need to be done on our tanks, water tanks and things like that. Also, the training of the employees is essential, like James just mentioned, that they have to be certified because TCQ has a lot of rules and regs out there that we have to abide by, that if we don't, the city could be fined, like you said, $10,000 a day until something is done. So I think that'll be one of the top 4 things that I see as my priorities.
Ditto. I mean, what can I say? I think that we need a major cleanup too. I think there's some areas that we need to kind of work on, clean up, make the city look a little bit better in some areas. It's just, this city's got a lot of potential, and I think it needs to be, we need to look at that, we need to bring this thing up. And what do y'all have to say? I want to listen to y'all. I want to hear your side of it. What do you think needs to be done? Because do you feel like people listen to you? Are we out talking to you? I think that needs to be done also. Because you have to say so in this. This is your town as well as it is ours. And I think that is very important to get your take on it and what you need for us to do for you.
My plans for the future is the continuation of the comprehensive plan, which is a study to help us address the situation in town that we are involved in. One of it is, of course, the housing and the direction we need to go with the housing project. We also have the infrastructure problems to, one, facilitate what we have today and what will facilitate us in the future. And the third priority is stabilization of the finances, so that we can have the funding to continue on the projects that we need to proceed on. All of these things cost, and we've got to figure out how economically to afford it.
I'm gonna sound like a broken record, but they've already said everything. But I'm gonna start with, you've gotta start with the council. So you gotta have a like-minded council to find a like-minded city manager. So everybody's on the same page. And then you're gonna have to go to your housing, your infrastructure. Yes, we need housing. We need not necessarily low-income housing, but we need affordable housing. That's where we need to start.
Mr. Flores, question number 4. Gentlemen, you'll have 1 minute to answer. And we'll start with Mr. Flores. How do you believe the charter affects the city council's roles? And by charter, I believe they're meaning the bylaws.
Bylaws?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well, I'm not a politician, so you're gonna have to explain that one to me.
Well, I work for the school, pal. So we all, whether it's, I'll do the best I can. How about that?
Okay.
Whether it's the city commission, whether it's a county commission, or whether it's an independent school district school board, the bylaws are the rules that which you have to work within and regulate to be in compliance and to meet the needs of the people you're serving.
Okay, now we go.
Sir, how do you believe that the charter affects the city council's roles?
I still don't understand this.
I'm gonna do the best I can without answering, because, sir, I don't want to be on the city council, I promise. As a superintendent, I believe that the school board's roles are for them to adopt school board policy. And I, as the superintendent, am responsible for acting as the sheriff.
Yeah,
When an upset parent comes in and wants to argue with me about the bylaws, the school district's policies, I share with them that the school board regulates and makes and approves board policy. It's my job to enforce those. So, as you running for city council, those bylaws that you're gonna work within, how important is that for you to serve on the city council?
oh, I believe it's very important. I mean, if it's a law or a regulation or whatever it is, you gotta either make it work, or you look for a way to replace it or to do something, but you gotta do everything legal.
Yes, sir.
I mean, that's what it is, but you gotta try and figure out what's gonna be the best for the town and for the people.
Thank you.
Whenever I get to any entity, we talk about what's your mission, what's your vision, and ultimately, number three is what's your values. I grew up in the United Methodist Church, which is overseen by a global system. And in '02, I slid over into a non-denominational church, and many of those have theocratic governments, which have their own bylaws. And so I started working with and writing bylaws with churches for the last 21 years. Here at New Life, where I'm the pastor, our eldership, we work on these bylaws, we have to adopt these bylaws, and we do that for two reasons. One, so that we can have the right values set forth so that everybody can be on the same page, and two, so we can have a legacy. You know, it lives well beyond us. And so I don't even believe that any kind of a council or board is allowed to exist without that bylaw system itself.
Thank you, sir.
Well, I've got a little more insight on this because of working with it. And the charter, the only person that the council has control over is the city manager. The city manager is in control of all the other employees, and a lot of times council coming in, they think that they can tell employees what to do, and that's not the way the charter set up. Charter, we control the city manager, and his job is to find department heads and the people to actually go out and do the work that's out and necessary. There's a lot more to it than that, but that's the gist of, you gotta follow the rules of the charter.
I'm also familiar with the charters that's working for the city, and also say the same thing as James has said. City council just overlooks the city manager and over policies, things that come from the planning and zoning, things like that, and make the decisions on that, and also let the city manager take care of his personnel, his department heads, and then employees under him.
Well, the city manager, to me, works for the council to a certain degree, and the council works for you guys. So there again, it all boils down to, what can we do for you? What do we need, how do we need to direct the city manager? Charter is very specific, but there's some things that we can do. And we need a city manager that will work through us, but we need to work through you guys. We need to get your input.
In relationship to the city charter, is an old city charter. We had developed a review board committee at one point to amend the charter. But the biggest thing in relationship to that, with the latest revision was in 2006 of the charter with my amendment of the ordinances. So in relationship to compliance of that, we need to stand strong on standardization of use, equality of use, and a clear-cut definition of the use of the ordinances and the charter. And one of the key positions of the city council is.
So I've been following a set of bylaws for the last 10.5 years in the fire department. it's your rule book. You break the rule book, you get grievances. You have to follow your bylaws. If you don't, things get screwed up and it makes everybody look bad. So it's very important to follow your bylaws. That's all I can say.
I'm old school, and I believe in following the bylaws. If you don't like the bylaws, then protest them, and let's go ahead and change them. But that's why we're coming together as a group and a team to try to make this city a better place to live, more affordable. And watch out for the taxpayers.
And you all will have 15 seconds to answer this question. I wasn't looking at you when I said that, James. You wish to serve on the city council. Can you please share with us how many city council meetings you have attended in person this past year?
0.
I just read the questions.
I think 2.
0.
After tomorrow night, it'll be 2.
Real quickly, I have attended every city council meeting for the last year. I've also attended all city council meetings for the last 10 years, with the exception of 3.
I'm at somewhere between 6 and 10 for the year.
I'm guilty, 0. But I'm looking forward to sitting in several.
I've attended, I don't know, 1, maybe 2, but I've seen every single one of them on YouTube, so.
Give me more than 15 seconds this time.
Okay, gentlemen, you'll have 1 minute to respond to this question. We're going to start with James. Do you advocate for tax increases or the creation of new revenue streams to balance future budgets? If not, what city departments, programs, or services would you consider cutting, or how would you manage them?
Well, actually, the year I retired, we paid off a bond in water department, so it should be actually doing fairly decent. If taxes need to be increased to fund, depends on what citizens want. If they want other services, then you're going to have to raise taxes to do it. It all comes with a price. Even when I was in the city manager, we tried to improve swimming pool park every year. And I said, okay, do you want to do the park, or are we going to give raises? And you have to pick and choose what you're going to do between those. And the council is one that has to make that decision. I'll say, yes, you're going to have to raise taxes if you have to, depending on what the city council wants.
Thank you, sir. Do you want me to read that again, sir? Yes, sir. Do you advocate for tax increases or the creation of new revenue streams to balance future budgets? If not, what city department, programs, or services would you consider cutting, or what additional ideas might you have?
If we could keep them raising taxes, it'd be fine. So I think I would advocate more for credit revenue.
Yes, sir.
Part of that, but it has to come to, the decision. If the council has to create or not create, but to make other departments or make something better, like raise taxes. Not raise taxes, but raise the employee salaries and things like that, like James just mentioned, sometimes it just has to be done. But I would listen to my constituents and see what their thoughts are and take it from there.
Thank you very much, sir.
I agree. I think revenue streams would probably be the best way to go, if at all possible. Before we start raising taxes and stuff, I think you have a say-so. I think we need to listen to you. Again, what's your take on this? You're taxpayers. You're gonna pay for it, I'm gonna pay for it, we're gonna pay for it. But what's your take on it? How do you feel about it? And I think that's something we need to get out and talk to you about and say, hey, look, this is our problem. What are we gonna do? How are we gonna, what do you feel about it? But I think finding other areas of revenue without raising taxes is the best way to go. Sometimes it's gotta be done, but we need to listen to you too, because you have ideas, do you not?
The city has basically three sources of income. There's property taxes, sales tax, and fees. In relationship to that, we have to work forward to improve our sales tax revenue to help facilitate the budget. And the actions that we take would be on the future development of Dalhart to increase the, what we call new money, which would be outside money, to pull them into town to do that. Now, in relationship to with the cut services, that would be dependent upon the time frame when it was in place, if it's necessary to do so.
I'm like-minded with these other guys. I think find different sources of revenue rather than raising taxes. We've got a lot of acres east and west of town, some on the south side of town that I think businesses would come in and we could spark some new revenue. So I think that would be the better choice than people raising taxes. So.
That's the whole reason I'm here and running for this office, because I'm all out for the taxpayers. I think that over the past 2 years, we've been strapped. And I feel that outside money, as far as federal grants, any kind of grant that would help our city is wonderful. And I just feel that taxpayers have been strapped. And that's why we're here. Several of us, you can see already, are talking like a team. We're looking out for you.
Can you read the question?
I sure can, yes, sir.
Do you advocate for tax increases or a creation of new revenue streams to balance future budgets? If not, what city departments, programs, or services would you consider cutting, or what other ideas would you like to share with us tonight?
I'm not for raising taxes. I think we've raised the taxes to where it's getting a little bit out of hand, not because we want something, we want it now. Let's go ahead and get a bond and let's make it happen. We could start budgeting and saving our money. Let's cut costs down. We don't necessarily have to get rid of a department, but we could start doing a little bit of better job of managing the money. I mean, simply by stop spending so much on engineering jobs and stuff like that. That takes a lot of cost. Let's get our guys in the street department, for instance. Let's get them trained to where they know how to go out and do a pothole. I mean, the city of Dumas does their own chip sealing. We don't have the equipment for that, but we could sure start budgeting and get the equipment and start doing our own repairs. So.
In 1998, I started teaching comm classes at Frank Phillips and Borger, and I did 25 years. My last class was in May of this year, or May of 23. My oldest son took over my classes. I was an adjunct instructor, and we did a political communication class. And I always taught the students this: if you get elected, you are simply there to represent the people that elected you. It's not even for me to decide. So if our people say, let's raise taxes, then I say, let's raise taxes. And if they say, let's find other money, then I say, let's find other money. If they say, let's cut costs, then I say, let's cut costs. My one job is to represent you.
I'm not supposed to give any input here, but I think y'all answered that question wonderfully. This is my second year in Dalhart, and I can tell you my first year before the school district passed the bond, I got more Christmas cards than I did this year. So you guys did a good job. Okay, it's your turn, sir. This is our last question that they had prepared, and I believe there's others later. Okay, all of you will get 30 seconds to answer this question. The city council is involved in the hiring process of which staff members and why?
The only one, I think, would be the city manager.
Thank you, sir.
I agree. City manager.
City manager, municipal judge, and the city secretary. Or council secretary, excuse me.
What Dwayne said.
Read the question one more time.
Yes, sir. The city council is involved in the hiring process of which staff members?
Gonna have to follow suit.
City manager, what was it, Dwayne, the city judge? What was the last one? Yeah, the city secretary. Yep, council secretary.
Now, did the rest of the question say and why?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm gonna answer why. It's those three, and why. I'm a pastor of the church where we have an eldership, and if the eldership helps me hire everybody, we have a mess. Everybody can't be everybody's boss. We have to hire those that we're called to hire, and then let the city manager do their job. We need to support them and give them all the backup they need, but they need to be in charge of the people they hire. We just hold them accountable for doing a good job.
It's actually in the charter, the city manager, the municipal judge, and the city council secretary.
Sir? Mr. Lester start. Y'all have passed, these are bonus questions to help you out. You have 1 minute to answer this question. How do you plan to involve residents of Dalhart in the decision-making process in our town?
I think you have to get out and talk to people. Get their input. Get out, go to meetings, talk to your neighbor, find out what they think about things. And let them know what's going on. I think communication is vital. It's vital to y'all and what's going on, because some people don't pay any attention to what's going on. But I think we have to bring that to your attention and get some input from y'all.
Sir.
We have attempted to, over the past year, to reach out to the community. We have used all available sources that we've had, social media, newsprint, and the radios and that sort of thing. We cannot come with the citizens of Dalhart to go to the places because the situations are posted and we fail to reach the public across the board with all information and total transparency of what we do. So if somebody can come up with a good idea to get everybody to look at the city website and the other websites, Facebook in relationship to the city, they will be informed of what's taking place.
How do you plan to involve residents of Dalhart in the decision-making process and help our town community?
I think I want to reiterate what these guys have said, and you've got to have public information. One thing I've got thinking about was we've had coffee with the cop, or coffee with the chief from the PD, from the fire department. Why can't we have coffee with the council? Go sit down and have a cup of coffee with them. Get information from everybody. Take it back to your other council members if they can't make it. Sit down with them. I mean, knock on doors. Just communication. That's the key.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody who came out today. You've already taken the first step in communication. Each and every one of you have tried to come out here and get involved in what we're trying to do for the city of Dalhart. Same thing applies in each one of the meetings. You come to the meetings, you put your issues and your questions on the table. Let's answer them. Come to a decision. You've already come here, keep coming.
Could you read the question?
Yes, sir. How do you plan to involve the residents of Dalhart in the decision-making process to assist and help our town?
I think it's something, the whole world's going through. It's all going to social media now. And believe me, I'm not big on social media, but I think the generation that's gonna be here, or that's already here, I mean, just look, we have 50, 60 people. Not a lot of people showed up. And if you look, there ain't a whole lot of young people. I think you had to go down to.
Whoa.
Well, nobody below their 20s. But you guys get what I'm saying. I mean, I bet if we would have said we're gonna decide on whether we're gonna keep the internet going or not, just imagine what this place would be like. So you gotta start going into what they're going into. You know, block parties I think are nice to have for the kids because they do worry about their kids, but social media is where I would start.
I think first thing you do anytime you're solving a problem, you go find somebody that's already had that problem and solve it. I think we've got to get out there to other towns our size, find out what they're doing, what's working, what's not working. I think social media has to be involved. I think there's 20 churches here in this town, and I see 2 preachers in here. Just go get preachers. Over 1,000 people go to church every Sunday morning, and you can reach people just immediately like that. We just have to go out and try things, see what's working, and make it happen.
Well, for myself, I'll do just like I did before. You go to all these civic groups, you go to them, you go to the county commissioners. Jim Raw had a program when he was mayor. All the commissioners, all the hospital board, all of those people went out and had lunch together and discussed common problems that they were having. All your commissioners, they have a group of constituents as well. And if we work together, it saves tax dollars for everybody. But the only way we're going to get that done is just you're going to have to go actually to those meetings. Each one of the boards, our cruisers, Loretta, the chamber, all those things. If you work together, I think those things go a whole lot better.
Yes, sir. How do you plan to involve the residents of Dalhart in the decision-making process to benefit our town?
I think the residents will probably be the ones calling us and asking us if when things come up, situations for our town, and just, listen to them and then go out in the public too, after you hear some complaints and things, and just follow through with that and just kind of see how you can go about the decision making with that and make the best decision you can.
Thank you very much, sir. Got 2 more questions. You'll have 30 seconds to answer this question. What can be done about the unpaved streets in the city of Dalhart?
The new direction of cities today are going into that we will no longer hard surface the property because we cannot afford the maintenance. At this present time, real quick here, we have budgeted $1 million for street repairs. The comprehensive plan has dictated that we need $5 million a year just to do our knowledge of the streets in Dalhart.
I don't have the information to give you on that one. I don't know what it's gonna take. I'm not on that hot seat yet, so, but I will, if I get in there, I will find out.
Yeah, I don't find myself even qualified to answer that question. Because honestly, I have no idea about the paving and the street situation. But I would totally agree with Smee.
Can you read the question again?
Yes, sir. What can be done about the unpaved streets in town?
People. We have half the equipment. Why can't we do it in-house? I mean, we have a $250,000 motor grader that sits somewhere in a yard. I don't know if it's out at the landfill right now. And I understand we don't have someone to run it. Let's get somebody to run it. And that's half the solution right there.
Thank you, sir.
I think TJ said it, like-minded, I'm gonna steal your word. Was that your word for the night?
It was.
Okay. Anytime you're solving a problem, you get the council together. You set a goal, you prioritize those goals, and then you find out who solved that problem and how we solved that problem. It's just it's a simple It's a simple task of small group decision making.
Well, the city, if they haven't taken it out, they have a program in place where the citizens pay to have their paved street. We used to do it in-house when I was city manager. We did 92 blocks of paving. Granted, I don't think they have the personnel now to do it, but it's in place, but it costs a lot of money.
What can be done about the unpaved streets in town?
I know right before I retired, I counted the dirt streets that we have, and I think it was 64 blocks that need to be done. It is very difficult to maybe do like what our governor's trying to do with student loans. Will the city pay for it, but then these other people that had to pay for theirs, we can fall into that, but maybe something to look at.
Thank you, sir.
Are you willing to raise your taxes for that? It's just something we're gonna have to talk about and look into and see what we can do, if it can be done. I think there's always a solution, so there's reaching out to see what other cities have done. But it's just a matter of communication, everybody talking together and attacking the problem. We'll see what we can do.
Thank you, sir. This is our last question, I believe. I think everybody has touched on this to some point, but we've had a community member that would like you to go into a little more detail. How do you plan to work at solving the housing shortage in Dalhart? What is your plan?
First thing I would look at is grants. If you can find a grant program to facilitate that, that's where I would start. That goes back to that other question. I don't have a whole lot of knowledge on what they deal with at the city right now, but I'm willing to find out.
First, we need to assess the problem, research it, and then look for that money. Possibly grants, incentives, whatever is necessary to try to improve our situation.
Thank you, sir.
You know.
Building.
Can you read the question again?
Oh, I thought you wanted me to read your mind. Okay, yes, sir. How do you plan to work at solving the housing shortage in Dalhart? What is your plan to help fix that?
Well, it all depends on how big do we want the town to get. Because one of the things that attracted me is a small town community, you know, the small town living. So how big do we want to be? There's always going to be a demand for housing. I mean, that's just the way it is. The population is growing everywhere. There's always going to be a demand for housing. I think that if we were to look into something, it would be grant money and see what we could get our hands on.
Very much, sir.
I grew up in Border, and in Border a while, they're shriveling up, they're dying, they have empty houses everywhere. They decided not to make a plan, and it's just not going well. I go back to the same, I'm just a broken record. Unless everybody on the council has done this and done well at it, I think we got to phone a friend. We go find engineers, home builders, real estate people. We go find experts in that area. We set a vision and a goal for what we want as a council, and then we go get experts to help us accomplish that goal.
Thank you, sir.
Well, we actually looked at this in 2020. There's actually a plat for 33 acres out by the college that we set up for them. At that time, we had personnel and could have put the utilities in. You're looking at $4 million to do the utilities, and then you build houses afterwards. At that time, we had 3 different companies that would build them for $150,000 a piece. I don't think you can get that done now. Like I said, you don't have the personnel to be able to put that in place now. You still have a plan, but you're just going to have to figure out how you're going to get the money.
Sir, what is your plan, or how do you plan to work at solving the housing shortage that we have here in Dalhart? What would you do to help fix that?
Well, I think that, I'll repeat what some of the guys have said, I think we look at grant money or federal funds out there. And probably as council members, I know the council members have an annual conference that they go to, and I think everyone should attend, all the council members should attend, and network with other towns that have gone through this, and maybe see how they approached it, see what they had done. And then whatever our council is doing, the previous council, just work upon that and make it better, or just let's just start on it and just make it work.
It's communications again. You gotta get people together, you gotta get people talking, you have to outreach, you have to network. How did they solve their problem? It's not an unsolvable problem. It may be a difficult problem, but I don't think it's unsolvable. But we're gonna have to sit down with a lot of different people and talk about it and see what our options are and see what we can do. But I think it's something we need to attack, we need to look at, we need to work at, and let's get this done because we need it. We need it really bad. So there's ways to, I think, look at it at least, and then bring it to y'all and get your opinion.
In closing, we're going to give everybody an opportunity. Oh, did we not start down here again? Am I cheating y'all again? I'm telling you. I repeated the third grade twice.
In relationship to that, we have had present and past council members been in meetings with construction, direction, and ways that we can move forward. One of the considerations on this is the demographics of Dalhart and our tax base. Networking with some other, it is very difficult to find a like-mannered town the size of Dalhart and the same tax base, tax structure. But we've reached out, we've got plans in it, we're doing that. One of the biggest things that hinders this is that when we put a plan in place, Mr. Stroud will confer this, that we got resistance from the people. And so when it's presented, we get pushed back. And so we've got to get the citizens in place that want to move forward with consideration of the needs that we have for the city.
In closing, we're going to give everybody 30 seconds to wrap this up and share your thoughts. We'll start with you, sir.
Again, I just want to thank everybody who turned out this evening to hear each of us voice our opinions. And again, you're the voice, or only the employees who work for you.
No, I'm not gonna ask. Thanks everyone for coming. Wish we would have had a bigger crowd, but it is what it is. Like, one of the questions was, how do we get more people involved? And that is an issue that we need to work on. We need to get it figured out. But we recognize that it's there. Everyone's quick to complain about their streets, but they're not so quick to help solve the issue, so.
On the night that we lost the two firemen, I was down at the funeral home with Pastor Richard Rodriguez. We were sitting down there, we called the other pastors and they showed up. One of the new pastors in town came up and said, "Hey, did these guys go to your church?" And I said, "No, they go to my town. I love the people that go to my town. You elect me, I'm going to represent the people that go to my town."
I love Dalhart. Every civic group here, I've tried to work with every one of them. I'm a public servant. I brought in more than $11 million in grants. I know how to get money, and that's part of what I do.
I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening. I plan on just focus on the future and move forward and help this community to get back to the way it was while I worked here for 33 years, helping the employees get well trained and get licensed.
I am qualified for assistant warden and senior warden, and twice I pulled my packet because we like Dalhart, and I'll be available. Thank you all for coming very much.
Under the organization of the TML, they have a role of the city council members. We are the regulators, we're the financiers, we are the employers, and we are the purchasers of the city of Dalhart. I would like to continue to go forward in those positions if at all possible, and I would appreciate you being here. Thank you.
With what everybody else said, appreciate y'all coming out. If I understand it right, there's somewhere around 2,000 registered voters in the city of Dalhart, and that's showing pretty weak right here. Just get out and vote. That's, you wanted your voice to be heard, just get out and vote. Don't have to vote for me, just vote.
I'd like to take a minute and thank all of the candidates for coming out and talking with us and sharing their information with us. We're very appreciative. And I'd also like to thank Jeff Bird and Alfonso Venegas for helping us stay on track. And thank all of you all for coming. We have refreshments in the back provided by Sheila Gallegos from Hootie's and Wellington State Bake, and you're all welcome to stay and visit and do a meet and greet for a few minutes if you'd like to. Thank you.